Hello, this is Professor Triplett, and it is time to get started on modeling this lamp. So, where shall we begin is the question. And I'm going to say let's start with making some curves. Anybody who's seen some of my tutorials on modeling knows I like using curves for a lot of different things. You can easily use polygons to shape some of these objects, but I just kind of like drawing them out with a curve. Feels good, seems easy to me, so let's get started. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my left view. You could use either the left or the right view, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to do this base piece first. Okay. Now, it may not be apparent from the pictures, but this bottom piece is actually kind of like a cap that's put on the bottom. So I'm going to make this a separate piece from this. So let's go ahead and start with making a curve. So I'm going to go to my curves, and I prefer the Bezier curve personally. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I'll just start off by going ahead and dropping a curve down. So I'm going to look at the reference as if this furthest point here is where this curve is going to go, and then I'm just going to go a little bit inside because I know that these two pieces of metal wouldn't occupy the same space. So I'll just drop one there with a single click, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop and drag, and then you can see that right there. Now I'm noticing that I'm not seeing my curve, so let me go ahead and just go to my wireframe where we can see it. And now it's not showing up too well. So let's see if I go ahead and go X-ray. There we go. Now we can see it better. Okay, so let's drop another curve here. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that every time I drop a curve with this Bezier tool and I pull the handle out, actually even if you don't pull the handle out, it's really kind of doing three curves. Or sorry, three control points. You don't see it that way per se, but it technically is like dropping three control points. So if I go ahead and just single click here, like so, it actually is putting like three control points on top of each other, and that's how it holds it as that corner. And then I'm just going to come and do a straight piece that'll come all the way through the middle here. Or, for that matter, I mean, we could just do it up to here. Let's just go do it like this. We'll just do it like that. And that'll be it. So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to go ahead and right click over this, and so now you can see I'm getting my polygon menu there. So if I go ahead and turn my layer as a reference layer, then right click over here, now I'm getting my control vertices, because what happens is that you can't select the reference layer unless you go and select it in your outliner. So there we go. It's close. It's close enough that I think I'll be happy with it. I'm not going to squabble over a few little tiny pixels here and there. So I think this will work for this. And if I go ahead and go back to my object mode, I can create this piece right away. So we can go to surfaces. I'm going to pull out my revolve options. And I want to make sure that I reset everything. So because I want to do this from scratch. So I reset everything. Now, the normal revolve options is going to turn this into NURBS. I want it to be a polygon. And I'm going to change my settings in my polygon. This is very important, so watch how I change these settings. I'm going to change it to quads, first of all. I'm going to go to general. And then in here, I'm going to use per span number of isoparms. And do that for both of these. And this should probably give me a pretty good mesh. So let's go ahead and just hit apply and see what happens. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to my perspective view. Now, I like the number of spans that it put going from in the Y direction, going from bottom to top. But I don't like the number of spans that it did in the the X direction. So I'm going to change that right here. So I'm going to undo this. So just Control Z twice, I guess. It's making me do it twice. And I'm going to increase this number here. I think this is the direction I'm looking for. So it may be doing this second direction, but we'll actually, yeah, this, well, we'll find out. Let me just put this at 6 and hit apply. Okay, yeah, it is the other one. So I just undid that. So let's keep that at 3, and then let's make this 6 and hit apply. Okay, now how many edges did we get here? So let's look. Go edges. Note that I have my heads-up display here for my poly count. So I'm going to just double click on one edge, and it's going to say I have 48 edges. Okay, so for right now, that's going to be fine. I'm not going to squabble over that. I think it'll work just fine, and we'll leave it alone. If I needed to change this later, I will always keep my curve here in case I get to a point where. So let me just give you a little advanced knowledge of where we're going. Eventually, we're going to cut a hole in this thing. So let me hide this. There's this hole that we're going to cut for this little piece right here. Now, when I get to that, if I decide, hey, I could add some extra edges in and it'll be a lot easier to cut this hole, then I may go back and do a revolve again and just cut the hole again. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead for now and just leave this at 48. But I'll keep this. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this my base. I'll call it base Bezier. And then I'll take this, pull it back out. So Shift H just to get that back out. And I'll name this G underscore base. And we'll just leave it like that. Now I'm going to take these two and I'm going to group them. Control G, and then I'm just going to call this base. So I know that there will always be there, and the curve for now I will hold Control H and then just hide that curve. I don't want to really see it in the viewport unless I need it. So I know it's there, and I can pull it out anytime I want. All right, so that's the base piece, and in the next video we'll move on to one of these other pieces, probably the bottom one now. So we'll do the bottom one next, and then we'll do the middle part. So let's go ahead and look at how to do the bottom part.